Sabrina, welcome to And the Women Gather.
Hello, Lorna. Great to be here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I said to our listeners that 15 years ago you had a car accident. Tell us a little bit about that. It left you quadriplegic. Am I correct?
Yes, you are. At the age of 14 years old, I was involved in a car accident. I was a sophomore in high school at Miami Beach Senior High and going out with a friend of mine, and we basically jumped in a car to go to a party on a Saturday evening with some kids from high school that we really didn't know very well. And within 10 minutes of being in the vehicle, we were two vehicles, six students from high school. Basically, they took off drag racing down Alton Road in Miami Beach, and the other car lost control, hit the car that I was in, and the car that I was in hit a parked car and then slammed into a tree. And instantly, I became a C3, 4, and 5 quadriplegic.
Just like that. Just like that.
In an instant, just like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, and so Sabrina, we now know that you are quadriplegic. I see you, but also some things I didn't tell people about you, and I certainly want to say that is that Sabrina has not laid down and crawled into a bed and decided no more. She's taken on with her foundation the whole issue of stem cell research. She is a comedian, and she's funny too. I heard something about her. She's funny too. She has gone to Congress. She's gone to the UN. She's had fundraisers where Michael J. Fox, who's going through some of the issues of needing the benefit of stem cell research, has been at her home as a fundraiser. But let's go a little bit. Tell me about your foundation and where we are with stem cell research now, Sabrina.
Okay, well, basically, as you mentioned earlier, in 2006, I wanted to create an outlet for the public to basically, learn and be educated about the promise of stem cell research, and also to create an outlet for the public to donate funds to the research itself right here in the United States. So I created, after being involved with another nonprofit for a couple of years and traveling the country to various conferences and meeting scientists from all over the world, I saw the need just to raise more money for this research and began my own organization. And to date, there's research being done all over the world. For several years before this administration, research here in our own country was very restricted by certain policies that were placed on stem cell research. And where we are today with our new administration, one of the first things that occurred when President Obama came into office was basically loosen up the restrictions and leniencies on what scientists could do right here in our country, which ultimately will open more doors for research, availability of resources to do the research, and also hopefully from the NIH more funding for the research. To date, there's people are traveling all over the world. Right here in our own backyard, there's a ton of research being done for all areas of disease, including spinal cord injury, diabetes, heart disease, leukemia, lymphomas. If somebody got burnt, there's going to eventually be procedures where stem cells can help heal wounds and scars. Over 70 diseases can potentially be treated with stem cell research.
And a lot of people don't know that. As you talk to people, what is the biggest fear? I mean, I know the issue of abortion comes in. I know the issue of cloning comes in. Are those the biggest fears that people have, that we're going to be doing abortions to get stem cell, or we're going to be cloning? What are you hearing, Sabrina?
Well, over the years, definitely opposition talks about cloning and abortions, but I think that the public is beginning to understand more and more that nobody on the ethical side of this research that cares about moving this science forward is interested in cloning human beings or, encouraging women to have abortions, because in essence the most potential lies in embryonic stem cell research, which has nothing to do with an aborted fetus. Adult stem cell research is showing a lot of promise. Umbilical cord blood, extracting cells from, once a woman gives birth, they keep the cells from the umbilical cord. There's a lot of potential in those cells as well. So I think it's just a major a movement that needs a lot of education. And once people get educated and understand that embryonic stem cells come from day-old embryos that are left over in fertility clinics. And Lorna, to date, there are over 400,000 of these leftover embryos sitting in clinics all over the United States, which eventually will be discarded. And scientists have found that if they can use these cells to potentially treat all these conditions.
Seems to me that one part of the dialogue has to be education and tolerance, because sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to understand it, because the whole idea of stem cell research really sounds complicated in its thought process, because people don't know when you say stem cell research. Is it a misnomer? Was it badly named or something?
Any major movement in history has always had controversy. So I really feel that, unfortunately, this area of science as well has had its own controversy. But I think with education and the public sees that, people like myself and the millions of others that are suffering and the very well-educated scientists that are backing this research, once they understand that we're not trying to bend people's views. It's not about politics, but it's about science and cures to help people that are currently suffering or people that get hurt down the road, to have medical breakthroughs and treatments for these people. I believe through that type of education and understanding, any negative association to this science be eliminated.
Right. So, and you mentioned that there are over 70 diseases that could certainly benefit from a breakthrough, from diabetes to Crohn's disease to heart disease to ALS and so forth. It's a big benefit, and it's a wide spread of demographics that certainly could benefit, yes?
Absolutely, yes. Lupus, multiple sclerosis, even people that are blind or deaf. In essence, Lorna, what stem cell research is really about is replacing unhealthy cells with healthy cells. And right now, what scientists need to do is explore all areas of this research, whether it's the embryonic stem cells, umbilical cord stem cells, adult stem cells where cells are extracted from one's own body to treat themselves. There was a study that just came about that even fat cells from one's own body could potentially be transformed into stem cells that could treat themselves. So,
and that's pretty new. That's like this month or last month, yeah?
Yeah, a few days ago, actually. It was in the media, and it's pretty fascinating. And the reason why more and more research is being done is to get away from the more controversial areas of research that the public opposes to. But again, like I said earlier, the majority of the controversy at one time was about embryonic stem cells, but in essence, these embryos sitting in fertility clinics are going to become unhealthy and thrown in the garbage anyways. We've been fighting for that right to use these embryos that eventually will wind up discarded.
All right, Sabrina, let us go into something very important. You have a fundraiser coming up. Tell us about it, where it is, and how we can all chip in.
Okay, great. Well, I do monthly happy hours, and my next fundraiser is Thursday, September 17th, so that's next week, and it's going to be a sip and spa happy hour at the Palms Hotel in Miami Beach, located at 3025 Collins Avenue. There'll be complimentary drinks and complimentary massages, half off of all food and drinks, and I'll have a raffle at the event to raise money for the foundation, and anyone who attends that would like to donate to the foundation, it's always an option.
All right, and so for people who are listening, if they're in Fort Lauderdale and they don't know, the Palms Hotel that we're speaking about is on Miami Beach. And what time is it?
And it starts at 6 o'clock, and it will probably go till about 9 o'clock. And Lorna, I actually post all of my events on my foundation website as well.
Okay, tell us where it is.
www.sabrinacohenfoundation.org.
All right, I want to thank Sabrina Cohen from Sabrina Cohen Foundation, helping us understand better stem cell research and the over 70 diseases that can certainly benefit from stem cell research. And we all want to go out to all her happy hours, but particularly September 17th at the Palms Hotel right here on Miami Beach on Collins Avenue. Sabrina will be there, fundraiser. She'll have a raffle for stem cell research and for her foundation. And so you never know when you or a member of your family could benefit from that research. Thank her for the work she does.